Yes, it is. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome. Mac here, and I'm so honored to be with this incredible group of men, Tim, Bob, Ed, Jay, and Tim. You know, as part of our Spring Makeover Seasonal Element program, we're very pleased to be together today in discussion from a men's perspective, how we as men approach and deal with the change of seasons, springtime specifically. Why are we doing this call? This is the one for the lads. I mean, we observe and respond differently to the world around us than the ladies for obvious and not so obvious reasons. Interestingly, it is in the same or very similar process for empowering ourselves that will help us both equally in yin and yang. Coming into the season of spring in the wood element on April 21st, we began a 6-month period where daylight, sun, and yang principles will dominate our lives, bringing about a new spark, power, and inspiration to act upon our ideas. Seasons change and we change. Staying healthy in spring keeps your wood element, the liver and the gallbladder, in the best possible shape with a renewed attention to our nutrition, exercise, self-awareness, and self-expression. In traditional Chinese medicine, spring corresponds to the direction of east, the climate of wind, the sound of a shout, the color of green, and the emotion of anger. As we blossom into spring, it's important that we rediscover the power within us with an awareness of a more universal perspective versus a narrow subconscious programs we received growing up. We can transform those programs that show up in our reactive behavior by first being aware of them and then having the tools that will allow us to take action upon them. You know, as I was growing up, I was told and saw what a man needed to be: a provider, a bread earner, the protector, the strong one. And for those of us that's been around for a while, you may always remember the old Rolling Stones song, right? I can't get no satisfaction. And the line that always resonated with me was, you can't be a man because you don't smoke the same cigarettes as me. I mean, that's what I grew up with, right? I mean, we were told what it was like to be a man, from our parents to the music we listened to everything. And it was funny because just this morning I was listening to a podcast and they were talking about the number one thing that holds people back from their true potential. And it's their story. You know, we all have a story and we all have the ability to rewrite our story every minute of every day. It's important, especially right now, that we clear the past to make room for the future to come into being now. If there's no room for it, the new energy will get clogged up with the old. You know, there's a saying around the season of spring that says, when spring arrives, remember, elimination equals illumination. So let's focus on eliminating the old to make room for illumination of the new. You know, there's 5 key topics that we wanted to focus on today in our conversation: listening with ourselves, meditation and mindful breathing, exercise and high vibrational foods, asking for help, and loving ourselves. So let's go ahead and get started on the first topic. Tim, come on in, and why don't you share with us, I should say, a little bit about listening within ourselves and what that means.
Okay, I'll keep this brief and good. Thank you. It's been a pleasure and an honor to hook up with all you amazing guys, to say the least, and sharing a positive message for everybody to listen within themselves. And basing this on my experience from what I've done as a body worker and holistic health practitioner for 30 plus years here, holy mackerel. But the language of feeling, it's like there's something we all have feelings physically and emotionally within ourselves, and it's about how we're choosing to respond to those feelings. I mean, again, Mac just mentioned how we've been programmed as to what a man should be, but now it's and if we get emotional, like we're not men, or we're not really measuring up possibly, but our emotions came from the universe. They were just, it's how we can live in harmony with them. And so the language of feeling, I like to think of it as a language, and when someone's speaking to you, you're going to listen and you're going to respond and give whoever the best response to whatever that inquiry is about. So the language of feeling. So if you're feeling physically or emotionally hurt, well, it's usually a sign that we're not doing something right. And I like to equate it to the dashboard on your car. It's like when that oil light comes on, you're going to stop the car. You're not, hey, I want to do an engine rebuild. So we're just, how am I going to listen to that? How am I going to respond to that? And as you mentioned, Mac, sharing a story. I mean, I guess I've gone through a lot of pain. We've all gone through some pain in our lives, but it's how we respond to that pain. And for myself, to be able to go deep within myself and find my breath, remembering that everything vibrates and everything moves. And the universe is always trying to communicate with us. And there's a little simple process I use with my clients, and I'd like to share with them, just to treat it like a friend. And a lot of this comes from the Tao Te Ching and a lot of studying, a lot of Taoist philosophy. But just listening so we can respond. So rather than just reacting, like if I have a pain, instead of just getting mad at it, it's okay to get mad, but I can come up with something better. I mean, again, that response might have been a conditioned response. So I can react, I can choose to react a lot better, but it's we don't remember some of the tools we have within ourselves, like breathing. There's a lot of subjects here that all the other guys are going to cover, but just being able to find our breath, find our center, literally change our vibration. Everything vibrates, everything moves, and to be able to, I like how Dr. Bruce Lipton puts it. It's like your biography becomes your biology. And so if we're continually stressing out with with a lot of cortisol emissions, and again, when we have cortisol emission created from our hypothalamus, it's a fight or fight response. And it's okay if we're being chased by a tiger. We need that fight or fight response. But if it's always reacting in not just a negative way, but a confrontational way, well, it's going to do something. It's going to do some damage within ourselves. Anyway, just to kind of bolt it all together, I like to remember that the universe has been doing this all along. It's been working 24/7 in our lives every day. And how am I going to respond to it? And for myself, I always find my breath, I find some meditation, I find all kinds of things, but I'm responding in a way that's going to be fruitful rather than creating more resistance. So it's like, so if we have a feeling, pay attention to it, be with it for a little while. A lot of these come from martial arts training, and know that you can transform that feeling, whether it be physical or emotional. And that's kind of in a nutshell, how I like to look at it, and how I share with my clients. I could come up with a big long list, but I don't want to do that right now. This is just remembering to pay attention to your feelings, breathe into them. They're crucial. Anyway, just listening. Just being able to listen like you'd listen to a friend. Again, treat it like a friend. Your feelings are messages straight from the universe. And even if you believe or don't believe that, just do it anyway, just for fun, and just to see what happens. And you'd be surprised at the response you get from the universe. It's like, thank it for showing you that something's wrong with your knee and you need to pay attention to it. Or, geez, I'm stressing out all the time. What have I been thinking about? Might even get you into helping yourself take some extra steps to empower yourself. And there's a whole list of things we're going to go through today that's going to enlighten that. But in the meantime, your feelings are first and foremost so important to listen to. And again, treat it like a friend. And that's, in a nutshell, that's about it.
Perfect.
Swing it off to you, Mac.
Absolutely. No, hey, thank you. That was really good, Tim. And I love this topic too. And like you, as a student of the martial arts myself for the past 20 years, I mean, this is right in our creed, placing foremost the improvement of mind and body to develop a better understanding of our fellow man, striving for the ultimate serenity that can only come from a complete understanding of ourselves. You kind of referenced it a second ago with yourself, but I can remember my dad being one of my best teachers while I was growing up, both with the positive behaviors I observed from him, but I think most importantly, it was the ugly masks I observed that showed me, most importantly, what I did not want to be as an adult. I can also remember how one of my first mentors and Sunwriter shared with me the thought that everyone gets confronted with challenging circumstances every day, and it's how we respond to those challenges that truly shows who we are and our character. I know over the past couple of weeks too, I've observed in myself the emotion of anger being right here on my sleeve, which really ties in with this spring element stuff. And luckily for me, I've been able to be aware of those feelings and deal with them before my computer was thrown out the window, or better yet, before my wife tossed me out the window from being so angry these past couple of weeks. So anyway, enough on this one, but before we move on to the next topic, did anybody else from the panel have anything they wanted to say on this one, or all good to go? Good to go. Okay, well then let's move on. Jay, if you don't mind jumping on with this, can you give us your perspective of the importance of meditation and mindful breathing?
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, Mac. And thank you, Tim. I want to echo a little bit of what Tim had to say. The flight or fight or flight is something that your breathing controls. Your sympathetic nervous system, which is the fight or flight nervous system, is controlled by your inhale. So if you're being chased by a tiger, as Tim mentioned, you suck it up, you hold your breath, and you fight or you run. And that is the protection mechanism of the sympathetic nervous system, but it also puts you very much on edge and very tense. So the parasympathetic nervous system is the exhale. So it's very important to focus on your exhale to stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system, which is your relaxation. If you think about heaving a big sigh, it relaxes everything. So the key is to inhale. It helps to practice and count this. And really, it helps to close your eyes. And I'd like all of you to do this with me, please, you guys and everyone listening. So close your eyes and take a slow inhale, but count to 5 or 6. And then the key is controlling the exhale. So you don't have to let it all out at once. You control the exhale and try to exhale twice as long as you inhaled. So if you counted to 5 or 6, you're going to exhale to the count of 10 or 12. It takes some practice, but you can control your exhale. And by controlling it and having it at least twice as long or more than your inhale, you stimulate your parasympathetic nervous system, which is totally relaxing. I'll tell you a quick story. I sleep really well, but there was a moment a few months ago that for some reason I was very uncomfortable and couldn't fall asleep. So I talked to my friend Adil Palkavala, and Adil gave me an exercise, and I do this every single night now. Now you can do this sitting up, you can do this in a car, you can do it sitting on a couch, but as far as helping me go to sleep, laid in the bed and bent my knees, so I pulled the heels of my feet back, put my hands on my stomach with my left hand over my right hand, closed my eyes, and Adil said to do this 12 times. So the way I managed that by knowing where I was I counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, and then counted out with a slow exhale to 12 and said 1 again. Then I said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, etc., all the way to 12. So I make sure that I got 12, and now it's become a habit. I do this every single night. And I do this, I try to extend the exhale at least twice, and sometimes even longer. And you'd be surprised. Catherine jokes, my wife jokes about this a lot, that within a minute or less, I'm fast asleep. And because it totally stimulates that relaxation parasympathetic nervous system. So that's something you can practice. You can do it anywhere, anytime, and it just lowers your blood pressure. It lowers your heart rate, and it brings relaxation no matter what stress that you have just experienced and you want to leave behind you. So let's talk about Salvatore's heartful meditation techniques. I think the most important one is a mindfulness, okay? And first thing is, let's find everybody's heart center. Take your thumbs, everyone do this. Take your thumbs, put them under your underarm. Bring your middle fingers together and touch your chest. That point is your heart center. So if you'll take your right hand and use your middle finger and very gently touch your heart center and rotate in a clockwise circle very gently. Close your eyes. Everyone close your eyes and really focus on your heart center. And do this several times and really focus on your heart center. Keep your eyes closed. And now bring your hands cupped with your fingers together, pointed up to the sides of your head, maybe 2 inches from your ears. And you actually will feel a sensation. So now with your eyes closed, take a deep, slow inhalation. And on the exhale, slowly exhaling and slowly gather your senses, gather your thoughts, bring your hands in front of your forehead, palms together, fingers tight together. Take a big inhale slowly here. And then draw all those senses on the exhale down to the wisdom of the heart, with your thumbs touching the heart center that you just found. And do this 3 more times at your own speed. Exhale, bringing your hands together in front of your forehead, gathering all those senses and thoughts. Inhale, and on the exhale, slowly bring all that down to the wisdom of your heart.
Awesome.
When you're finished, don't open your eyes right away. Hold everything in your heart center. And then very slowly open your eyes, focus on something far away, not what's right in front of you. And then release your hands with your palms up and rest them on your knees or your thighs. This is something that can take no more than 5 minutes. You can do this in a car. You can do this in the kitchen. You can do this on a couch. You can sit out, as this picture on the left indicates, out in the woods or in nature. Or if you're on a hike and you just want to stop for a minute and stand there and mental center, which is what this is called, bringing everything to the wisdom of your heart, you'll find that you will feel refreshed, relaxed, and actually have more energy. I'll pass it back to you, Mac.
Jay, wow, is all I can say. Thank you so much. I mean, just the idea of sharing these very practical techniques with us is so valuable, and appreciate that so much. And I'm going to be doing this. I did it with everybody now, but tonight, that's just what's going to happen before bedtime. So Jay, thank you so much. Before we move on, does anybody else from the panel have any comments about this particular topic, or are we good to go?
I do, actually.
Oh, please, Ed. Yeah, jump in.
Just quickly, I couldn't,
Or
it's so
Tim.
nice, it's so refreshing. It's, I got my, yes, it's so refreshing just to hear somebody put emphasis on the exhale, not that there is an emphasis on the inhale, but I share that with everyone. And a little different technique, but very similar. And it feels, thank you, Jay, that was just awesome. But yes, a lot of people put emphasis on that inhale. Like when somebody asks you to breathe, even a physician, they'll ask you to breathe, and everyone, the first thing they'll do is rather than and exhale and activate that person with their nervous system. Just top drawer. Thank you, Jay. I couldn't agree with you more. Thank you.
Let me add one more thing, a personal experience. Quite a few years ago now, a doctor told me that I was moderately hypertense or borderline hypertense, and I had elevated blood pressure. And I learned these breathing techniques, and you know, and I had to buy a gauge to know where I was all the time. He wanted me to use it when I was driving. If, you know, I got mad at someone cutting me off, and pull over and take my blood pressure, and it was high. It's not anymore at all. Whenever I feel like I'm racing inside a little bit, I stop and do this, and my blood pressure is normal. I had a nurse say to me in the office, oh, I don't know, a few months ago, when they, you know, take your blood pressure even at the dental office, right? And I started doing my exhaling, and this woman looked at me and she said, are you trying to control your blood pressure? And I looked up at her and smiled, and I said, I always control my blood pressure this way. And it really does work.
Fantastic, Jay. Thank you so much. Again, last chance. Any other comments on this topic? Okay, let's move on. The next topic we're going to talk about is exercise and high vibrational foods, and we're going to divide this into two parts. And Ed, I know you wanted to talk to us a little bit about exercise, so please come in and share with us your thoughts.
Thank you, Mac, and thank you, gentlemen, for collaborating on this. What I feel is a very important mission to help men on many different levels. And for me, this topic is close to my heart. I'm a physical therapist, personal trainer, and yoga instructor. And exercise for me, I'm lucky enough that since I was a kid, I've always been learning through my body. I have to move my body. And think about when we were children, what we did. We ran, we jumped, we climbed. Our bodies were meant to move. And unfortunately, that's not happening these days. There's a lot of people sedentary on their technology, which has increased obesity and a host of other health challenges. So for me, I've been an endurance athlete most of my life, and I use that exercise. For me, it's like therapy. High school, it was to help deal with some of the challenges at home with my father. So it was really beneficial to me. And that brings up a good point that a lot of people don't talk about as far as the benefits of exercise for mental health. It releases endorphins and serotonin in the brain, so those chemicals and hormones that make you feel good. So those dealing with depression or anxiety, anger, it's a great way. Just move your body. Exercise is a great way to. It's a good antidote for those mental health challenges. As far as the physical benefits, the circulatory system. So that's the system that pumps the blood through the body. So exercise is going to strengthen the heart. It's going to decrease blood pressure. It's going to bring oxygen to all of the organs and all the structures of the body to make it healthier. So oxygen is the key. And then, of course, the musculoskeletal system, the muscles, strengthens the muscles, keeps the joints healthy, strengthens the bones. I recommend for those who don't exercise regularly, just begin slowly, maybe 20 minutes a couple times a week, and then build up to 3 to 5 times a week, 20 to 30 minutes, elevating your heart rate, and pick a movement that you're passionate about, that you enjoy. It could be like Mac, it could be like you, martial arts, dancing. For me, it's running, cycling, just walking, getting out in nature is also a great way to exercise. So pick what you enjoy doing and just focus on increasing your heart rate, and you'll get so many benefits from that, and you'll feel good in the process. So that's what I have to say about that today, Mac, and I appreciate, again, you asking me to be on this panel.
Ed, thank you so much. That was wonderful. And I can really relate to a lot of what you said. I mean, for me, you're right. It is the karate, the kickboxing, the hiking, the skiing, for all the reasons you mentioned. And I know my wife has commented this to me many times because she sees my behavior when I come back from having exercise, from having been out in nature hiking or whatever it is. My whole personality changes. You know, I come back with a huge smile on my face. My eyes are wide open. I'm a much easier person to be around once I get some exercise. So right there with you. Anybody else on the exercise side of things? Bob, I don't mean to call you out on this one because I know this wasn't necessarily your topic, but I know you've gone through some health things, and as we all have over the last number of years. And I know that you've jumped into an exercise program recently. Would you just share 2 seconds as to what you're doing?
Absolutely, Mac. Thanks. And I do want to say, like everyone else, it's just a incredible just to be a part of this group and this group of men. Yeah, I used to be in pretty good shape and played a lot of sports, but I never really exercised. I got it through the activity, and then when I got into my 40s, things began to change. Okay, and got busy doing a lot of things. My kids were getting older, so didn't have to spend as much time playing with them. So I kind of let it go down. And then next thing you know, I had testicular cancer. I had some heart disease thrown in there. I had my whole neck cut and rebuilt my C4 through C7, where they fused it. And yeah, I just stopped moving, to be honest with you. And I use that as an excuse. So finally, I just drew a line in the sand. You know, I've had a lot of you in my life that have talked to me about just doing something little. And also with the company we're involved with, we had a 40-day challenge that was a huge blessing. So I started to join that with everybody else and started going to the gym, riding a recumbent bike because there wasn't a lot of pressure on my knees by doing that. Doing it 30 minutes a day now, up to almost an hour, 45 minutes to an hour. Hit the weights a little bit lightly. But by doing that, I get excited about now watching more as far as other things I could do. So yeah, so I'm in process of getting my health back by just doing those little things that you talked about, Mac and Ed and all of you. And I'm looking forward to getting back to the point where I can play some sports again and bring other people with me. So being part of this group, this team, is going to allow me now to invite people that I know to join us. And we'll talk a little bit about that in a few minutes.
Absolutely. Bob, you know, thank you so much for sharing that. And I, like you, I mean, heck, I thought a knee replacement and hip replacement over the last 5 years was a lot. You've really been through it. And you're right, though. I think when we make the choice of how we're going to regain our health and stay with it and make the commitment to do so, that's where things start to change. And so happy to see you're back at the gym and doing your thing, because not only as a friend, you're a mentor to all of us, and we want you around for a long time. So stick with it, okay? Any other comments on exercise before we move on?
Yeah, I've got one quick one. As far as this smaller group of 6, I'm certainly the most mature, the oldest one here. And I can tell you that there comes a time in all of our lives as men where our testosterone levels begin to severely diminish. And that indeed happened to me. One of the things that I've learned is with a regimen of exercise, you can regenerate your testosterone levels. And that was something I was unaware of till I got to this point. And so it's really important as you become a little more senior, which you guys have a ways to go, that you need to do that. My energy level was, I almost couldn't get off of the couch. That's how, but I didn't realize until I had my testosterone tested, and it was through the floor. And the normal range is like 550 to 1100, and I was 125. So, but by doing exercises and having a regimen, you can regenerate your testosterone. And rather than try to regenerate it, if you can maintain it, that's even better.
Fabulous. Jay, Ed, Bob, thank you guys so much for sharing on this. Let's move on and talk about a little about foods and high vibrational foods in particular. Tim, take it away. That didn't mean go away, Tim. It meant take it
No,
away.
now I got it. Wrong button. Well, it was a great pleasure to join all you guys and collaborate on well, all these things I think we all need and play a big part in our lives and those around us, obviously. And well, myself, for my work, well, I'm an architect and I work globally. So it's become very apparent to me that what I put in my body in the way of food really is crucial as to mine being able to travel without significant downfalls, whether it be jet lag or whatever the case might be. But as a whole in life and our own wellness and well-being, I think it's very important that we be very conscious about what we're putting in our bodies and what we start with in the morning. I mean, the foods that we eat, you know, for our health, obviously in this case, and I think for all of us in terms of Sunrider foods, it's we start our day with nutritional type beverages that also have a cleansing aspect of it, and all the different, you know, botanical and real food-based products as opposed to chemical-based products or man-made products, shall we say. It's a good start. And doing that throughout the day. I mean, I start my day with my Kali tea and my herbs and all to create the foundation for my wellness for the day. And then add in the different layers of whether it be New Plus or a shake or whatever, all for nutrition. But then I add in all the other things that I know that I personally like and want, some good, some bad, not necessarily it may be the most highest on the life force meter, but I think those are all things that, you know, it's up to each of us to choose whether that works for us or not. And in a healthy body, you can handle a lot more of those things. But also taking to the point of consciousness of how you're preparing your food, or, you know, what's going into it. I mean, if I wasn't a architect of buildings, I also call myself the food architect, because I do all the cooking in our family, and I cook with a lot of passion and a lot of love, but it's also selecting the ingredients and the things that are going into that, and looking at it from a balanced state. You know, I always generally grow a garden, and actually currently putting together a very large greenhouse for us to grow a lot more things. So you know what you're getting as opposed to what you're buying off the shelf in, say, a supermarket or a store. But again, the consciousness goes through on many levels, or hopefully on many levels. And it's about being aware and knowing what's right for you. Your body will tell you more so than any magazine or TV show or anything else what's right for you. And you just have to build the awareness to that. And a lot of it's common sense, but in doing so, I think that balances our well-being, our health, our mental state, our karma, if you want to call it, all of those things, so that our bodies can work on a much higher level. And that then ties into all the other things that the other gentlemen have been talking about, whether it be exercise, whether it be meditating, all of these things. If your body has all of the correct components that it can function at its ultimate state, a lot of the exercise, the meditation, all of these other things become much more effective and much faster. And it also hopefully helps us keep our health and from any degenerative or different things that may come our way. And naturally, none of us can control that. We never know what we're going to end up
with. But by taking all the measures that, you know, you're putting in your body and all of these other things these gentlemen are talking about, we can hopefully mitigate any issues and elevate ourselves to a happier, healthier life. Anybody else got anything to say about that?
Excellent, Tim. You know, thank you for that share. Really great information. And, you know, I've eaten at your house, so I can testify to what you said is absolutely true in terms of you being the cook around the house and making sure everything is in balance, and have had some wonderful meals with you. So thank you very much. And, you know, there was a great article that came across my desk several years ago called The Body Electric. And it talked about the idea of our body being energy, vibration, and our chi, if you will, which a lot of us have heard about, you know, our energy, our internal chi. And I just wanted to comment about the fact that, you know, you touched on it briefly yourself a second ago. Everything we put in our mouth either makes an energy deposit or an energy withdrawal, which leads us towards regeneration or degeneration, as you said.
Right.
And, you know, as we look at this season of spring, nutritionally, this is a great time to fast or to do liquid cleanses. Like I said before, elimination equals illumination, you know, so it's a great time to be cleansing the body. We should be eating for the season. I mean, green, light foods, high vibrational foods that are alive. You know, our body only recognizes nutrition when it comes in whole food form. So to be eating naturally. And one last thing, you made the point of again, growing a garden and having your own greenhouse and all of that. One of the things we spoke about in a call not long ago was the whole idea of purchasing locally and going to farmers markets. Folks, here in the United States, and I know some of you are in Canada, so please forgive me, but here in the United States, there is over 8,000 farmers markets that operate all the time around the year, okay? When we can buy local, we can know the person that's growing our food. We know how it's grown. We know their personality. Are they providing love as they go out there and water and fertilize? I mean, there's so many things that we can do if we can shop local like that. So right there with you on the high vibrational foods. And enough from me. Anybody else have any comments on this one before we move on? All good. Going once, going twice. Terrific. Well, our next topic is asking for help, which, oh my gosh, well, anyway, this is a topic that I know is very close to your heart, Bob. So I'm going to turn it over to you, okay?
Well, thanks, Mac. I really appreciate being a part of this group of men. It's the first time we've gotten together. So if you're watching this video, you know, we're looking forward to seeing you and helping and working with you. But, you know, I grew up, I had 3 sisters. They were all older than I was, no brothers. I had a dad that was in the military. So I really didn't have that man's point of view outside of the things my dad did for me. He never told me he loved me, even though I knew he loved me because of the way his actions. So I learned at an early age that I kind of had, if I was going to do things, I was going to do things on my own. And as I grew up, I was able to continue, never hearing the love word, but knowing that love was in our house. And now I have 2 sons. And the one thing that I really wanted to make sure is that it started with me, that I could tell my boys that I love them. I could tell my boys that no matter what's going on in their lives, I'll always be there for them. If it's a call at 2 o'clock in the morning that they need a ride or whatever, you know, there's so many challenges right now for kids in our world. And sometimes they think there's no out. And that's one thing that I told Don and I told my boys is that we'll always be here for them. But going backwards, I wasn't always that way. I was blessed to have a mentor in my life that basically had similar challenges growing up with his dad. And he learned with his boys to do the same thing. In fact, you know, he taught me. His name was Craig Holliday. And through his mentorship, he allowed me to learn how to open up, okay, to be able to say things that that I didn't feel comfortable saying. Because see, men, like Mac alluded to at the beginning, is men are not taught to share their feelings. It's not macho, it's not manly to do those things. That's why women are so good at, I mean, if you just look at just the Susan G. Corman with breast cancer awareness and stuff, that's been going on for decades and decades and decades. And, you know, they pretty much have that beat. Well, I had testicular cancer 19 years ago, and I was way outside of the age range. Normally, testicular cancer candidates are 15 years old to 35 years old. And I was outside of that. But the blessing I had is because of help, asking for help earlier. Craig was able to send me Lance Armstrong's book called "It's Not About the Bike," and it talks about, because he was, had won 7 of the Tour de France. He was actually in his 5th Tour de France when I was diagnosed. But the insight because Craig cares so much about me, the insight I got from that book allowed me to ask my oncologist to contact Lance Armstrong's oncologist. And instead of having to go through chemo and radiation, all that, I was days away from starting that when his doctor was in France, when Lance was doing number 5, told my oncologist, why don't we just hold off with Bob, and let's give it some time. Let's monitor, and if he's a good student, we can go ahead and test his blood, do all the tumor markers, do the x-rays and scans and all that stuff. And all because of asking for help, I was able to not have to go through anything outside of them just removing the tumor, and they did it right away. So what we need to learn, and this is such a huge topic in my life, is because I've been blessed to now be able to be involved like with this team of men for the first time today. But in the past, with hundreds and thousands of men, where Craig has helped tens of thousands of people through his Mariah ministry. But it's allowed me to understand, it all starts with, there's a great book out there. It's called As a Man Thinketh. And we are what we think about. We are who we kind of hang out with, who we associate with. And that's good, bad, or indifferent. I'm not telling people what to do or how to do it. But for me, if I didn't have the ability to first answer the question that, hey, Bob, you can't do all things. You need help. You need to ask for help. How do you do that? Well, you find people in your life, men in your life, that you can trust, that will be honest with you. They're not going to tell you what you want to hear. They're going to tell you what you need to hear. And I had to be strong enough to be able to accept that, and to love them as men, as wanting to help me. And then I was able to do that with thousands and thousands of men also. I tell you, this is just such a blessing, because it's been a few years since the pandemic and stuff that we've had a chance to come together as men, iron sharpening iron. And I really miss this, and I'm excited about it. And I'm excited about where the potential is for this, because there's so many topics that men really need to understand, and what kind of impact are we all going to make on our world? There's so many people that have their, I'm not going to get into all the agendas that are out there, but I think for men, we need to have the men agenda again. We need to come back to us and why and how we can help the youngers, because the younger kids nowadays, they're lost. They're lost between having to wear masks, don't wear masks, go to work, don't go to work, all the crazy things that are happening. And through having the right team and group of people giving good answers, given discernment and different things in our lives. So, what does it do? It makes us stronger. We can help other people. We can help ourselves, and we can be impact players. So I'm so appreciative to be a part of this with you guys. What's that say, Tim? Yeah.
Amen. Yeah, perfect.
And again, it doesn't happen overnight. It takes time, but you got to initially ask yourself the question: do I want to be better? Do I want to be better for my family, my wife, my significant other, for my parents, for my kids? Do I want to? And then that's you got to answer that first question to yourself. And then second is, where do I go next? What's my next thing I need to do? And if you're watching this video, if someone invited you to watch the video, reach out to them and said, hey, I really want to get more involved with this. How can I do that? Because at the end of the day, we're going to leave this earth. We all are at some point in time. And I just wanted to leave it a better place than it was left to me. And hopefully we can turn that around. So back to you, Mac. I really appreciate you and all the men on this, because we're going to have an exciting, not just year, but exciting future with what we're going to do with this group. So thanks again for inviting me.
Bob, you are welcome. And I can't thank you enough for being here. Well, all you guys for that matter. But, you know, I love hearing from you, and you're right. I mean, this is a topic that's very important to me too. And I mean, it's okay to be vulnerable is what I kind of get from all of this. And it's taken me a long time to realize that it is okay to ask for help, and it doesn't show me as being less of a man or anything else if I share the fact that I don't have an answer to something, or I need help determining the right approach and where I want to go with stuff. So, man, oh man, thank you so much for that, Bob. And before we move on to our last topic, anybody else from the panel like to jump in on this one real quick? Ed.
Yeah, thanks, Mac, and Bob. As always, thank you for your wisdom. Even though you have so much wisdom, I always find you to always be searching and learning and being teachable, and asking for help when you need it. And that's a great attribute. And you know, I love you for it. Love you for that. You know, as a lot of men have on this panel have talked about, for me, you know, I'm a sensitive, emotional man, and I was a very emotional, sensitive boy, and that was not fostered. Actually, it was ridiculed and laughed at. So, so I grew up thinking there was something wrong with me, and I think eventually, for me, how I dealt with it was through alcohol, and it was 30 years ago that I decided to stop drinking, and I reached out for help because I knew that if I continued to lead my life the way I was, that I wasn't going to fulfill my potential. And there was a time when I wanted that connection to other men, that fellowship, that bond that I didn't get from my father. So I joined a men's group, and that really helped me to learn what it means to be a true man, an emotional man, a sensitive man, a vulnerable man, and that there's nothing wrong with it. In fact, it's courageous. And I really appreciate this vehicle that we're going to be using to help other men who might be in the same positions that we're in or have been in. So, you know, that's why I'm here. I'm here just like the rest of you to support other men, so we can change this way that we're raised and the boys are being raised, and help them. So that's why I'm here. Thank you.
Ed, thank you so much. I mean, really touched by what you said, man. Brought a tear to my eye as another sensitive young person growing up and suffering some of the same ridicule you probably did too, because of being able to share our emotions or feeling them so strongly. I can relate, and thank you so much for sharing that. Really touched, really touched. Last but not least, loving ourselves. If I can, Tim, can I turn back to you for this one to kind of guide us through a little bit of self-love and how important that is for ourselves?
Well, loving ourselves.
Tim, we lost
Yes.
your audio.
Oh. Should be good. Is it there? Am I here? Okay, yeah.
We can hear you now.
Loving ourselves, yeah. Well, before you start doing anything, it's like it's a reflection of everything that we have in our lives. It's like there's a little something that shared with me with mentors in the past is we can only receive as much love as we're able to give ourselves. And if you've ever had the experience of being loved by somebody more than you give yourself, it feels uncomfortable, you know, if you haven't done that. And Ed, I just have to say, I completely relate to what you had to say, and it really had just to edify all you guys. It's amazing stories. But yeah, it's so sometimes it may be because of our conditioning, and we may be the hardest person to love in our lives, but it just takes a little bit of practice. I like, again, coming back to how I work with my own business, I guess, is to not just think of myself as me, but think of myself as more than the sum of my parts, which is back to the universe again. And so when I'm not only loving myself, I'm loving what I'm created of. And back to that Taoist philosophy, it's really just our responsibility, because we have an ability to respond to honoring what we are. And when we do, it seems to like to show off. I love that part of it. It's like when I honor myself, and I, just like Tim making that, I love putting love into my meals, man. It's like, even if I'm the only guy, I'm kind of the only guy at home. So I love my evening meals and taking the time, and how much better I feel while I'm eating and after I've eaten is because I put that enthusiasm, the loving enthusiasm, into that food. So it's just another consistent practice, no different than working out. It's just another thing, and every one of these little things is an act of loving oneself. And again, if we start to do that with us, it begins to be reflected in the people that are around us. And if I'm loving myself, well, guess what? I just raise my capacity to be able to receive more love from the people that touch me in so many wonderful ways in my life. So it's just to keep it kind of short and simple. It's just like you're loving more than you when you love yourself. It's not the programming, it's not the conditioning, any of those things that happen. It's like being able to look beyond that. And it comes with breathing and meditation, nourishing, asking for help. All the subjects in here are an extension of loving ourselves. We take these actions because we're living a miracle. We're a living miracle. And when we recognize that miracle and honor it for what it is, and it seems to even evoke gratitude and appreciation, and two of the most powerful forces we can have within us. And when we have gratitude and appreciation in our lives, we do raise our vibration. I mean, we start to create serotonin and dopamine and oxytocin, the love hormone, all those things get activated. And the little thing from Jim Quick that I like is, when back to exercise, an act of loving yourself, is when the body moves, the brain grooves. All of these things are reflections and creating that mental chemical stability and stasis that we were born with, and which is unlimited. Anyway, those are all just little reflections of what it means to love ourselves. And we're, again, for those people who have a hard time dealing with the past and the labels that were placed upon us as we were growing up. Yeah, I was still am a sensitive guy. I got a tear in my eye every day. It's usually a tear of joy. I like listening to music and things that make me happy. But again, those are acts of loving myself. And you see my guitar over here. That's when that thing isn't, I mean, I'm not the best player, but when I can play something for myself and I'm just enjoying it for myself, and maybe even have the privilege and pleasure of playing for somebody else, and we all join in on a song or something, it raises everybody's vibration and they feel good. Anyway, in a nutshell, but that's what loving myself. If we're having a hard time loving ourselves, just love more. Remember that you're more than what you believe you are, and just give it a shot. It's fun, and look at what's coming back. Anyway, that's my little aspect of loving myself, and how we can all engage in loving ourselves, and the rewards that will not only happen for us, for everybody around us, as Bob would say. So thank you very much, everybody.
Hey, thank you so much for that. That was really good. And next call, we'll get the band together and we'll play a tune.
Yeah,
man. Be awesome. Hey, we talked about vibration earlier. That's one of the ways, playing guitar, that I feel that kind of external vibration that resonates inside me every day too. So right there with you. Anybody else want to talk a little bit about loving ourselves or gratitude, appreciation, anything before we kind of?
Yeah, I'd like to talk about gratitude for a moment. Really, I know it's a cliche, but attitude is gratitude, or equals gratitude. And whether you are a religious observant or not, I would encourage everybody to Google morning prayers. Morning prayers in Judaism, in Christianity, Muslim, Buddhist. Just Google all the different morning prayers and read them because they all are very similar. And one of the things that I believe is very important, the moment that I wake up in the morning, I am grateful that my soul has returned to my body. And I say this to myself, or I say it out loud. My wife's sleeping, I say it to myself. I'm grateful that I wake up breathing. And then one of the next things that I do is I go in and use the restroom is I always wash my hands. There's something about washing my hands that is a feeling of being clean. I'm looking at this picture of the boy with his arms up in the air, the man with his arms in the air. And I feel that way when I wash my hands, but I look in the mirror and I look at myself and I say, I am pure, I am complete, I am capable. And it puts a smile on my face. And smiles create the attitude by being grateful for the day. And if you want to take that further, you can talk to yourself in the mirror and actually tell yourself what you want to manifest in that particular day. And that more than certainly, by being grateful that you're able to tell yourself what you want to accomplish, will put a smile on your face. And before you even walk back out to get dressed, do your Sunrider products or whatever, you're going to be smiling as you start your day. So attitude is gratitude.
Jay, thank you. One more practical exercise for us. I love it. Very good. Thank you so much for sharing that. Anybody else on the joy of loving oneself before we move on?
Last little thing.
Please.
Win the morning, as Jay would just mentioned, you win the morning, you win the day.
Yeah.
And so what a great thing. I'm looking up those morning prayers. I mean, I've looked at every other religion, but I'm going to take a special look. Thank you, Jay. And everybody, geez, you guys are high vibrating guys. Oh my goodness.
Absolutely. V2, I'm going to check out the prayers too. For me, it always begins with looking at a law of attraction quote or something. But the same thing, Jay, you're right. I mean, I wake up similarly. I'll go through my own internal meditation that I have, my own kind of mantra, etc., that starts my day. And you're right. It always puts a smile on my face and it makes the day begin just the way it should. So great stuff, you guys. Look, as we kind of close down the call today, I just wanted to share these couple of pictures here that a lot of what we've been talking about today is, again, creating our powerful thoughts, our powerful actions, our powerful ideas, and really kind of putting together our own mindful, respectful toolboxes and success toolbox, if you will, as we can move forward as men. And before we close the call down, if you guys don't mind, I mean, as order as I see you here, it goes Bob, Tim, Ed, Jay, and Tim. Bob, would you kind of start any final comments that you'd just like to make before we close the call down today?
I really do, Mac. You know, you guys are so awesome, and this was so needed for me. Some of you know me. I to be able to take action. You know, I need accountability. Accountability is everything in my life. I think in most people's life. And now being accountable to the other 5 people on this team, but more than that, being accountable to the people that are out there that need to hear what we're talking about. And that's just by us inviting people. Watch the video, have gone a little bit longer than we normally would go. I apologize for that. But you know what? For the people that need to hear it, want to hear it, they'll hear it. For those that don't, so be it. It is what it is. Mm-hmm. So I look forward to the next one. I look forward to figuring out how we can get the love for men, as Ed talked about, because you know, through this process, you know, I've got to know most of you. You know, Ed, I've created a special bond with, love him to death. What a great human being. Jay, I talk to almost every day. Mac, I talk to you at least once a week, and both Tims, I'm looking forward to spending this more time with you. But I just can't wait to see where we can take this, how many men want to join us on our journey, so we can go out there and make an impact on other men's lives. Because it wasn't for, like I said, Craig and other people in my lives, I wouldn't be the person I am today. So thank you guys for inviting me to this.
Absolutely, Bob. Thank you so much for being here. Tim W., share next, please.
Unmuted. Well, after that couldn't agree with you more, Bob. Again, every one of these gentlemen has incredible gifts to share, and we've all gone through our experiences and learned along the way as to what we can do to enhance our own lives. But again, we're enhancing. There's a little thing I like is when we start to love me and we become one, and that means everyone and everyone around us. And geez, I'm getting teary just thinking about it. I'm so grateful, you guys. Thank you so much. And just it's part of the journey. It might sometimes we might want to kick ourselves in the butt for making mistakes, but you know what? If you don't make mistakes, you don't grow. If I didn't make mistakes on that guitar over there or anything else that I do in my life, how could I ever possibly improve? And it's so rewarding to be able to get through something and go, wow, last month I couldn't play that. Now I own it. That song or that poem or that exercise or whatever I'm doing. And again, ultimately, it's helping enhance the quality of our lives. And wouldn't we want to be at our very best when we're around the people we love? And this is a part of the journey, and I couldn't be more grateful to all of you. Thank you. You've all contributed, and I really feel it in the best way possible. Thank you.
Tim, thanks so much for that. Absolutely. Ed, would you mind sharing just some last thoughts?
Thanks again, everyone. To the men out there that are listening to this and seeing this, know that we are here to support you. I have no doubt in my mind that this is my mission, and I'm getting the sense that it's the mission of everyone on this panel. We're here to support you, to teach you what we've learned through our experiences, through our ups and downs, and also what we've learned in our own personal development, emotionally, physically, the things we've learned to help improve our lives, we want to share with you. And for the women who are listening to this and seeing this, please send the men in your lives that you love to our next group, and have them also listen to this. I think it's just some amazing men who have shared some amazing information. So thank you again, everyone.
Thank you, Ed. Jay, final comments.
Yeah, I just want to suggest everyone think about consistency, repetition, which creates habits, healthy habits. And by being consistently and repeating this, you create these healthy habits that make your life healthier. And I want to say to everyone on this call that it's been a tremendous honor to be part of this first panel. And I thank all of you and look forward to doing this again many times.
Awesome, Jay. Thank you so much. Tim, how about you?
Yeah. I think what I'd like to say is, and to anybody that listens to this, is I think is our human nature is we all think we're alone in the world, or what we've experienced is only us and nobody else has experienced this. And even what you've experienced garners a certain amount of wisdom, and no matter what your age is. And your wisdom is different than our wisdom, but all that combined wisdom comes together to create many opportunities to learn from one another and know that we're not alone, and help each other grow to be the person we want to be, and be able to inspire and aspire others to be more than they ever thought they could be. And I thank all the guys on this group, and I'm honored to be part of this. And I think we can make a huge influence in other people's lives, but the world, which the world drastically needs right now. So thank you.
Absolutely. Tim, thank you so much. for me, you know, I can't add anything to what you guys said. This was so wonderful. I appreciate you all so very, very much for being here with me on this thing, and sharing the way that you all have. Very excited about where we can take this and what the future holds for our men's group, and how we can be sharing with more and more people going forward. And I guess it's just kind of my last thought is I hope everyone listening has found some value and perhaps an awakening for themselves with this conversation. So with that, until next time, let me thank again all of our panel members, everybody listening here. For you guys on the call today, man, I wish I could give you all a big hug right now, so I'll just do it virtually, okay? Love you all. Thank you so much, and we'll see everyone next time, okay? All right.
Thank you,
bye,
everyone.
Bye. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Blessings.
Thank you.
Blessings.